In this video, we're going to talk about the different types of inventory for a manufacturing firm. And it's important to specify manufacturing firm because a merchandising firm just buys inventory and then sells inventory. The inventory they get is already put together, but a manufacturing firm, we're going to have some nuances here that is what we're going to talk about. So first of all, we've already kind of talked about things like direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead, and how these costs go into inventory, and then they flow out of the firm through cost of goods sold, right? So what we're looking at specifically here is this inventory component, and what we find is that there's actually kind of subcategories of this. So we've got raw materials, which I'll just put as RM right now. We've got work in process, which is WIP, and then we've got finished goods, and the rest is video. I'm going to explain each of these in more detail. So let me just scroll down a little bit here. So let's talk about raw materials, and I'll just abbreviate this. So raw materials, we're talking about, let's say that you were making a car. It'll be something like steel, right? This is the actual materials used to make the product, right? So this is, but now when we think about this WIP component, right? Now we've got the work in process. Now how is this different? How does this differ from the raw materials? Well, now we've done some work to the steel or whatever the raw materials are. We've done some work to it, but it's in process. That means it's not finished yet, right? So we go ahead, we purchase some materials, and then we apply some labor, some overhead, whatever we do to the product, we start doing it, but it's not complete. And so we can't just say anymore, well, it's raw materials, it's just sitting there. We've actually done some work, but it's in process. It basically means it's incomplete. So this is incomplete. It's like a partially assembled unit. Okay, so it's a bicycle that's half complete. We haven't put it together yet, but then once we actually complete it, that's where we get into the finished goods part of. So finished goods. Now this is the complete bicycle. This is an actual unit that's ready to be sold. Unit ready to be sold. So let's take the bicycle thing for a moment here. So let's say it's a steel bicycle. Our raw material we start with is steel. Then we do some work to it. We start assembling it. But the bicycle's not complete. It's incomplete. It's just sitting there half done. And then when we finish it, it goes into finished goods. So things go from raw materials to work in process to finished goods. And so these are all different types of inventory. So if we looked at a manufacturing firm's balance sheet, right? If we looked at the balance sheet, let me give an example. Let's say we had some auto production. Let's say we have Tommy's car production. So when we look at the balance sheet, we might see something like this. We might see inventory. Not all firms will break it out like this, but it is inventory, and then we've got raw materials. And let's say that we have raw materials of 40,000. And then we've got WIP. So this is work in process, incomplete, partially assembled units, and that's 35,000. And then we've got finished goods. Just abbreviate there, and that's 50,000. Now what do we have here total? Looks like we have 125,000. So what does that mean? That means that our actual asset, our actual total inventory, so let's put here total inventory, is 125,000. But we can break that out as follows and say we've got 40,000 in raw materials, 35,000 in partially assembled, unfinished units. We've done work to them, but they're not done yet. And then we've got $50,000 of inventory that is ready. It's good to go. It's ready to be sold and go out the door. So just remember this really simple basic equation is that raw materials plus WIP plus finished goods, if we add all those together, that's going to give us total inventory.